literally the opposite. It's like, bro, if you don't cut XYZ, we're dead. If you don't do this, we're gonna die. Risk management. Like they're completely opposing roles, and I'm trying to do both of them like at the same time. Like be like, we're never gonna die, but unless you do that, then we're gonna die. And like.
What up, Solar Pros? Another episode of The Pursuit. I'm your host, Josh Holland. Today's guest, the guy, the legend from Meraki, dude. Justin Wolf, how you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. How about you?
Dude, thanks for coming on. Thanks for staying a couple more days. Appreciate you making time, dude. I know how busy, everyone is right now. So the fact you're making time to hop on and kind of tell us your story and allow us to get to know you, we just appreciate it, man. It means a lot.
Not a problem at all.
Yeah. Dude. Dude, getting to know you a little bit more, I can just feel stand-up guy.
Thanks.
Dude, like, love your people. Like, that's like one of my main takeaways, kind of hearing your stories, like passion, and you mentioned a couple of times, like, dude, to be a leader, you gotta have the passion, and so I'm excited to kind of share with these guys, like, what, has made you, and why we're fortunate to have you as one of our VPs here at Solar Pros, dude. I think that pros is big, and so it's hard for guys to wrap, like, who's doing what, and there's all these divisions, and it's like, what is all this stuff? So Justin oversees Meraki, one of our main divisions, and these guys are on a tear lately.
Yeah.
Dude, how's it been since you guys have been over here? Like, what's it been like?
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, any transition you make, the size of transition we make is tough. Like, you got to learn a lot of new stuff. Like, you have a lot of guys that don't catch the vision early on, but honestly, it's been amazing.
Really?
Like obviously the pricing is, no one can compete with the pricing of the pros, so
Sure.
that's nice.
Yeah.
But also just being on the big stage is pretty dang fun. Like, obviously pros is, I don't think there's even a second place really.
Yeah.
Like, pros is huge.
Yeah.
And it's really fun to finally be back on a stage where we're competing with like the best in the entire industry. And especially my competitive guys have loved that.
Yeah.
Like getting out there and be like, okay, I used to do 20 deals a month, 30 deals a month. Well, that's just not going to cut it for first place no more. Now you got to go ahead and do 40 deals a month.
Yeah.
And so that specific aspect has been the most fun. And honestly, not having to be the CEO is pretty goddamn fun too. Like being able to just be with the sales guys and like do the sales thing, and like that's fun.
Focus on the needle moving things.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just
been
having to
fun.
oversee everything.
We really enjoyed it.
So for those of you guys that don't know, Justin and his partners ran a company called Meraki, and we're going to get into how all that came to be and all the fun details of that, because it's a really cool story. But you guys were not just only on the sales side, you guys installed deals as well.
Yep.
And then brought over all of your sales side into pros. Wait, what month was that?
July.
July.
Yeah, July 2024. Yep.
Dang.
So not too long ago.
Okay, yeah. So not even a year.
No.
And I mean, would you guys, if I remember right, you guys this last month did 200 or 300?
It was 300 something.
370.
It's 370 something in January, which, it's not something we're proud of.
Dude, I think
It's pretty bad.
No, dude, I think that January is not typically a month where people are cranking anyways.
No,
so,
we did 120 last week, so I think February will be a little better.
yeah, you guys have had some big days too.
Yeah.
It's been cool to see. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. These Meraki boys came to play. It's been fun. You can't have Evolve just sitting up there all by its lonesome,
I know.
dude. It's like,
it's gonna take a little grind. Those are pretty good guys. They're pretty good at what they do, but we'll be there.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So, I mean, dude, maybe give us an idea of like, where you started in door to door. You've been doing it for a long time. You're 34 years old. You have kids.
Yep.
Two boys, right?
Yeah, 2 boys.
Remind me the ages.
So almost 12 and 10.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just a whole nother factor in this job, is like, having relationships, having kids, all these things, and then running business, and then just experiencing all of these highs and lows of solar. Dude, your story is pretty phenomenal. So let's rewind the clock a little bit, and I'll help guide it. But like, let's understand how you became you at this moment.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So I played basketball for Southern Virginia University.
Nice.
This is back right around 2010, 2011.
Okay.
So really enjoyed that. To be honest, my whole life I grew up with my dad doing construction. So carpet, vinyl, tile. I did some framing and concrete, but mostly flooring with him my whole life. And I'd always been recruited. I originally lived in Utah.
Okay.
And I'd always been recruited door to door, but I never did it because I was like, they're just trying to, make money on me, MLM bullshit,
Yeah.
So I was
Pyramid
always
scheme,
like,
yeah.
I'm not going to do sales.
Yeah.
I'm a construction dude, and I was going to go to college and get in the medical field was my goal. And I played ball. Every single guy on my basketball team did some form of door-to-door sales. And I think that's where I got.
So Virginia was a big door-to-door school for a long time.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so I was like, at that point, I had one of my close friends that I actually trusted. Like, okay, this guy's not just trying to make money on me; he's trying to make money on me, and he's honest. So, but that's
How's
okay.
that work?
Yeah, but it's okay because
Yeah.
but I believe I will make money. So I was
Sure.
like, okay, cool. And so I went with him, and real small home security company. It's called Ben Franklin Security. I went and sold with them, and I count myself really lucky. I don't know if you ever hear the story of like the rat that's put in the water, and it swims, and as long as you take it out, it survives kind of thing, and it'll swim much longer.
Yeah.
So I was just very lucky in my experience because I joined such a small team of guys that, to be honest, weren't very good. And so I viewed myself as much better than I actually was in the space because I was part of such a tiny team.
Yeah.
Like I went in there and I remember my first day being like, holy shit, this is hard. I sold 2 home security deals my first day, but I only averaged like 4 deals a week. I was not good, but I was just consistent. I worked really hard. And so I'd get 4 or 5 deals a week. But I was just always 4 or 5 deals a week. I didn't even learn until the end of the summer that guys were like sometimes going to the gas station taking breaks. Like it was not me.
It didn't exist.
It didn't exist.
Everyone's out here working.
Wouldn't you just be fired? Like you can't do that. Like I was just used to construction. We would get there and work, and you bring a lunchbox, you open the lunchbox, you eat your sandwich for 15 minutes, and you keep working, and you just go. Like we had times we rolled sleeping bags out on the job site and slept, woke up, and kept working. You got to get the job done. We weren't paid hourly; we were paid by job, so it's like just gotta get the job done.
Yeah.
And that was my experience of work. But breaks were not an option. Like it's not a thing. Like you're fine. Like just keep working.
Yeah.
So that was my experience. I did well. At the end of the summer, they offered me a management position. I made $40K that summer, and I was like, dude, I grew up doing construction. I made as much as my dad made in all year in 3 months. And I was like, I'm not going back to school. Like, what am I gonna make in school? Like, this is my first summer. I was like, I'm just gonna make more money here. So I was like, I'm gonna stay and do this all year round. All the other guys went back to school and back to this stuff. So I was alone. And I had 8 months off season. They offered me twice as much per sale in that 8 months. And in those 8 months, as it's twice as long, twice as much pay, I earned half as much money in that time frame as I did in the summer. It was terrible. Like such a valuable learning lesson of just how powerful culture is, just how powerful a team is, and the right team.
Yeah.
Right? Being on the right team, just how powerful it is on your success. Such a valuable lesson. I mean, dude, I had times to drive out to an area just try to get myself to go to work and like sit in the freaking car for 4 hours looking at social media and then just being like, I'm just going home, and then just driving home. Like it was a tough off season. It really was. And so right there, looking back on that, I'm so happy that happened though, because now when I'm building teams and I'm building, groups together, I know what to put in to make sure that it's conducive to success, an environment of success, right? My environment was conducive to me failing. I didn't check in with anybody. I had no positive pressure. Is what I called it. There was no pressure whatsoever.
No accountability.
No accountability, and it killed me, right? Like I love pressure now. I try to put as much pressure on myself as I possibly can because I know that's what I need to be successful. So learned that lesson. Second summer, was ready to go. I was excited. So I wanted to prove I was still, worth something, at this job. So I went hard and I did really well. I did extremely well, recruited a few guys, built the team up more. I managed the team through the summer, crushed it. And I learned my lessons. So this next off season, my brothers were working with me at this point, and I kind of kept the structure going into the off season as well. So the off season was much better. During that off season is when my father passed away from cancer.
Jeez.
I was very close with my dad, like extremely close growing up, and so that was pretty hard.
I mean, you had told me about that before. I'm just thinking like, take us there for a second. Like, what was that like for you, dude? Like, especially somebody you were so close with. Yeah,
I'd say it's my first experience with like actual like trauma, like something that's like that just sticks with you for like forever. Like we found out he had brain cancer, and he was just like the most hardworking, like genuine guy like I've ever met in my life. Like, and I mean, him and I'd stay up till 2 a.m. playing video games together. He was my home teaching companion. He was my bishop. He was my scoutmaster. He was my boss. Like we spent a lot of time together. So
was he like a great mentor?
He really was. He really was. And he's just such a good guy. And we were so close. And so that was, I mean, it was super hard.
Was it? Did you guys know for a while, and then?
No,
or-
it was 6 months. So we found out, and then 6 months later is when he passed away. He had surgery. Like, he passed out. So he was trying to work. He was sick for a long time. And I remember it's funny because he had just come out and knocked doors with me, and he was going to come. They had put the house up for sale. Like, they were going to come out, and he was going to do door-to-door sales with me.
Wow.
And so he went back home to get ready to come out. And then when he went home, he got really sick, and we didn't know what was wrong. And he he like passed out, and they took him in, and the doctors couldn't figure out forever. But then they ended up scanning, and it was brain cancer. And then he passed away 6 months later. Yeah, it was rough.
Sheesh, dude.
Yeah.
How was that for your mom?
It was extremely hard. Yeah, it was super hard for my mom. I think specifically my mom. I mean, they'd been together a really long time. 7 kids.
7 kids.
7 kids. The
Where-
Mormon way.
Yeah. Bro, I love it. Where were you at in the 7?
I was the oldest boy, so it means I was the oldest. No, just kidding. No, but I had 2 older sisters, and then I was the oldest boy, and then I had 3 younger brothers.
Well,
and a
that's
younger sister.
significant to know because, I mean, how old at that time? You're 20.
I was 25, I think, 24, 25.
I mean, you're kind of his successor.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
so a lot of,
And my mom moved in with me.
She did?
She did for a while after he passed away. And, my brothers were working for me, like staying in one of my, I bought a rental and they were staying in rental. Like, yeah, I was kind of like, my brothers joke around about it, but I had to put my daddy boots on, like, instead of being a brother, I was like kind of like a father in a way. But it was in a way like, and I obviously would never choose it, but in a way it spurred my success. Everyone deals with, hard things differently. I worked a lot more. Some people are like, oh man, they have a dad pass away and their work just kind of like dies. And like mine was the opposite. It's like, well, I think it's because that's how my dad taught me. My dad's like, well, look, when shit happens, the worst thing you can do is just sit around and think about it. Like, you need to keep yourself busy. Like, you need to go. That's what he always said. And and so like I was just like,
it's the way you coped with it. And
yeah, I just go to work.
Threw yourself into the job.
Yeah, I just go to work freaking hard. And so I did. Crazy enough, I did twice as good that third summer as I did the second summer. I mean, I made really, really good money, recruited a lot of guys, and I was working super hard. And I have a lot of responsibility. And my mom's with me, living with me, and like I have to perform too at the same time.
Were you like? Did she need help like financially?
She was okay. Yeah, he had life insurance, so she was set up. It was more just that
Emotional
pressure, and some of my brothers and stuff. Like I needed to.
How old were your brothers?
Some were pretty young. My youngest brother was 16.
Oh wow! Then, so like they needed a place to live. Like
yeah. And so it was a tough it was a tough year, but I did come back that summer and.
Well, dude, I think it says a ton about you.
Oh.
Like that's a lot, dude. Like that's significant. It's heavy, dude. Like it gets me emotional thinking about. Like I can't. Yeah, dude, like you were there for him, like that's really cool.
Well, thank you, man.
I think, bro, yeah, you should just know that. Like, everyone responds differently to that stuff, and it sounds like, you really stepped up, and I'm just sure your dad would be so proud of that. Thanks. So that's cool, man.
Yeah, and it was tough for the whole family, but I did come back that next summer and did really, really well. At the end of the summer, my brother ended up connecting with a guy that gave me an opportunity to open my own dealership. Cool. So opened my own first home security dealership. Good learning lesson. Just because you're good at sales doesn't mean you're good at running a company.
Bro, the Cardinal said it's like just because you're good at sales doesn't mean you're good at managing. It's like let alone let's start a company, dude. Yeah.
So yeah, that was like I was like damn. And so it was a learning lesson. This seems obvious to anyone in home security at this point, but back then, like I partnered with another guy to actually do the installs, and we didn't do same day installs. He was like, "Oh, let's just have it scheduled out 2 or 3 days, cuts down on costs, and blah blah." That was a really bad idea. You need
alarms,
bro. You have to do same days.
You want to be on the phone doing a local call. Someone knocks on the door and you're just like, just putting in the panel.
You're still talking to them, finishing why they're doing it. Like that's how it should be.
Yeah.
I made the dumb thought. Again, I was super young, very stupid.
Can you imagine if we did solar that way?
I know, holy shit, dude.
They're just like the crew's rolling in. You're finishing up the Mosaic local call. They're like drilling holes in the panel in the roof.
So I started that. We figured that out pretty quick. Started doing same days, but it was a lot of learning lessons. And I was approached by VSLR, so not the Vivint that exists today in the market, but the one turned into Sunrun, or got bought by Sunrun. And they said, "Hey, come do this solar thing." This is back in 2015, I think.
Yeah.
And so they come do this solar thing, and I was like, all right. I mean, it was pretty new to me, and door to door, I never heard of it. I flew out to Utah. I did the wine and dine. I really liked it. I was like, they come to Fresno, be a DM for us, selling Fresno, California. I said, all right, let's do it. Shut down the company. I got my guys. It wasn't a ton of us. Just a few guys that decided to go with me. So we all went out to Fresno, California, and I started selling solar. And I love selling solar. I mean, I did extremely well. The last quarter I was there, I was number one in California for personal production. I had no leads, no setters, no nothing like that. It was just 100% self-gen knocking. I think I had 63 installs that quarter. It was amazing. I really enjoyed it. I was never number one in the company, to be honest. I was number 3, that quarter. But I feel like at that point in my life, I just realized what a profound impact, my career had on me. Not just money, because obviously there's a lot of money in door to door, but just who I was as a person.
Yeah.
Like I'm just a completely different person today than I was had you met me before I did door to door. And I'm like, you work more than you do anything, right? Like if your job sucks, most of your life sucks. If your job's fulfilling, most of your life is fulfilling. And I wanted to if I wanted to create a company that was centered around that. So Meraki's Greek, to put your heart and soul into something, like love something so much your soul is in it.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to have the focus of the company to be that, like, this is not a job. This is a lifestyle. We call it the Meraki lifestyle. Like, this is not a job. Like, we all know in door to door, it's just like our identities.
Yeah.
and so that was the focus. I didn't actually do Meraki first though. I started with a company called Origin Renewables, and I was on cloud 9. I had like $350K in the bank. Like, I'm one of the best. Like I'm very confident, right? And I left, and there's a bunch of guys that came with me. There's like, we all did it together. There's like 6 district manager level guys. Like, we're ready to go with this company. They were technically like a finance.
This is what
Origin.
year now?
This is now 20. It's near the end of 2015. I wasn't with Vivint for a whole year.
Oh wow, that was quick.
Yeah, it was quick. Yeah, it was like 9 months with them, I think. Is that or 2016? We'll find out.
Okay. Yeah.
2015, 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, and it might have been 20. Yeah, end of 2015, I think. And so I went with him, and we started selling these PPL products, and the installers were getting ready. We sold like 80 something jobs the first month. Like, we were ready to go. And I was like, dude, we're going to blow this thing up. And they installed none of the jobs. 0. None of the jobs got installed. It sucked. It was terrible. Well, apparently the installers were like getting everything ready to install, but they'd wait to install because they're waiting on the upfront pay from this Origin Renewables, the company I was working with, and they wouldn't pay the installer. And they just kept dragging me along for a long time. Like, oh, it's just about there. Like, just a few more weeks. Like, we'll have like the licensing. Yeah, like a week or 2 week. Like, oh, dude, just 2 more weeks. The licensing will be ready. Like, and it's the best thing ever. And if it worked, it was going to be the best thing ever. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I just kept dragging me along for like 6 months. You just keep losing people. And it just got to a point where, I went. Because a lot of my family worked for me, like siblings, cousin was working for me. Like, I just had my brother-in-law, like I just had a lot of people working for me at that point. I recruited a lot of people, and I remember going in front of them, and it's hard to keep losing like that for 6 straight months. I just remember going in front of them and being like, yeah, it's dead. Like, it's over. I remember having like, breakdown in front of them all. Like, I've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point. Like, it's not working out. Like, and so it just blew apart. Everyone left.
What did that feel like, dude?
That was a tough day. And I know I went over this story before, but I feel like it's a defining moment of who I am today. So, I remember right after standing in front of them and just like breaking down, and it's just so stressful, kind of like the stress coming to a pinnacle. Like, you're worried about it failing this whole time, and it's just like fighting, and then oh my God, it's failed. And like, that's just such a tough moment. I remember like sitting there imagining myself like. And I told you this, where I'm like standing on a rock in like a massive ocean, like, and it's just the one rock and water, and that's all it is. And I'm standing there on that little rock, and there's just these massive like waves coming at me, just like these huge waves coming to just like crash, on top of me. And I like to imagine stuff in my mind a lot.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. And so I was imagining that, like, just this stress and everything just coming and cultivating to just crush on top of me. But as the waves crush down, it does absolutely nothing to me, like just nothing at all. Like,
immovable.
The clothes don't move, nothing. Like, everything's just crashing. And I kind of imagine myself like that, because look, it's crashing around me, not to me. At the end of the day, I'm still waking up every morning. I'm still eating food like I normally do. I'm pooping in the toilet, like I normally do. Like, I'm watching Netflix at night. Like, my life is roughly the same, whether the company is crushing and dominating, or honestly whether it's all falling apart. Like, at the end of the day, I'm still fine.
It's pretty similar,
right?
yeah.
I'm still okay. And then also the other thing I think I really took away from it is I remember thinking, even just right after that, is like, this is the moment I'm designed for. Not just, oh man, I can make it through this, but like, this is it. Like, this is where I was designed to be. Like, I look, and since that day, like, I don't feel like I'm fully fulfilled unless I'm in those kinds of moments, like just really intense, really hard, like really, really, really difficult, stressful situations. Like, that's where I know, like, I'm growing at the fastest pace I can possibly grow, is that. Right? I need as much weight on my shoulders as I can handle. Right?
Yeah.
I want to be in those crazy moments because I know that's where I'm growing. And I know I told you this, but a lot of guys try to handle, situations, but instead I like to get into those situations.
Yeah,
Like,
dude,
I'm not looking to handle it. I'm looking to get into it.
Yeah.
Like, and I want to, like, all right, like, get me in there.
Yeah.
Like, and there's like, how do I make it through this? And I'm like, how do I get into this?
Bro, that's sweet though. Like, when you said that, I was like, we gotta put that on a shirt. You're looking to handle it. I'm looking to get in it.
Yeah,
sweet,
you're looking to handle it. I want to get in there,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah.
And so that was a defining moment. And I think they talk about the power habits. This is a little different, but the power habits where they talk about, like, you need to make it part of your identity. Well, part of my identity is getting into those really intense, difficult scenarios and wanting to be in there. So since then, I went to this, okay, well, we have something working in Hawaii. So I was like, all right. So I went to Hawaii. And it wasn't working. They lied to me. So it went another 3 or 4 months of that shit not working.
Is that just you though? Like,
yeah, just
at
me.
that point, okay, Origin,
yeah.
he's gonzo. These waves aren't crushing me, but like, I don't got any people. I can let them all go.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to Hawaii, and you're just out there ripping. And then
I was out there to sell, but the opportunity that I went to go do didn't actually exist. And so I ended up trying to put stuff together. I tried to put stuff together for like 3 to 4 months, and nothing ever happened.
Wow.
So I made zero money when I was there. And now I'm like, I don't know how much money I got left, but it's not a ton. And so I leave Hawaii, come back to Utah, lick my wounds. I moved into a basement apartment underneath someone else's house. So I've gone from like $300,000 in the bank to I have a car, and I'm married.
This time.
Yeah, I have
two kids.
2 kids at this point.
Okay, yeah,
both the kids are born. They were born back in North Carolina in the alarm days. So I'm living there. And I'm like, all right, time to crank this son of a bitch back up. And so I go, recruit. This is when Max and Jacob joined me, right?
Cool.
I opened a different company called Eclipse Solutions. And I was like, let's do this, baby. And so they joined me. I got Max right off his mission. I've been trying to recruit him. He's my ward. I tried to recruit him like for years. I wanted him to do this.
The old Payson ward.
The old Payson ward, yeah. And then Jacob's Payson too. So I recruited him like the second day he came back from his mission. I'm like, you come join me. And so he joined me. Jacob Humphreys joined me. He was going to college, and so we started trying to build up Utah. And we were doing the stupid broker model. We're working with multiple EPCs. It's a very dumb model, but we were doing it. Started selling, and I started buying leads too, and like giving leads to my guys, and it started going, not terrible. Like Max had a team of like 20 something dudes. He started going with a few valuable lessons I learned. One is scaling. So to scale, people just don't realize the cost behind the scene to scale a sales org, right? When you're an EPC, the bigger you get is the better your costs can get, or should get. Like you get massive, and you can get better prices on equipment, better pricing on panels, better pricing on your employees cost less per deal. So like the bigger you get, the economies of scale benefit you. Sales org, it's the exact opposite. The larger you get is the more expensive a sales organization is, because at first I'm the manager, so I get the manager's overrides, the regional's overrides, the VP overrides, the divisional overrides. I get everything because I'm the manager. But if you want to get to 500 deals a month or 600,000 deals a month, like that's your goal, you have to build something where that can fit, right? Let's say you have 10 cents for a manager, you have 5 cents for a regional, 5 cents for a divisional, 5 cents for a VP, and then you want the company to be clearing 10 cents at the end of the day. That's a 35-cent margin that you have to have just for overrides, right? Just 35 cents from your baseline to what the reps get. And then you need another 25 cents to run your costs, for your thing. And you need 60 cents between you and what the reps get. And I didn't appreciate that, and as you get bigger too, the reps, they do stupid shit more. When I have just a small team, I know the guys personally. As they get bigger, they take off their advances, they sign up grandma when they shouldn't have, and now you got paid to pull panels off. It gets exponentially more expensive the bigger you get as a sales org. I didn't appreciate that, didn't structure it right from the beginning. That shit fell apart too.
Well, something we talked about there is guys that only do sales never think, and we're going to get into this a little bit later too with freedom, but they never think about that. Mm-mm. You're just like, oh, the companies make like,
look how much money they got there.
It's like, well, dude, yeah, I mean, they have to make money. I don't know what it is about door to door. Like when you're young and dumb. What I say is like, you're like, no one should make money on me. You're like, then why would anyone work with you? It's
and
like,
the funny thing is, I wasn't making money on them. I was losing money on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that, and then we had one of the big installers we were working with at the time ended up having a bunch of our, and Max will say this, but a bunch of the installs we did with them, they didn't pay us on any of them. They stopped paying us. They were paying us, and they stopped, and then they just didn't ever pay us on these jobs. And so it got to the point where I was like, I think my car payment was in like a week or two, and I couldn't make my car payment. I was like, shit, dude, like I'm not gonna be able to make my car payment. I'm only paying like $700 a month in rent. I couldn't make my rent payment. And I was like, shit, dude, here it goes again. Shit's gonna burn down again. and so I met up with a company called Eris Energy, and they had this place. Cause I'm like, I need money now. Like I need a lot of money. I need it fast to save what I got. And so they had a pretty good upfront, offering how much money they give up front. And they say, hey, go out to El Paso, Texas. We have like 2-week installs. Like it's super fast. And I was like, all right, I'm going. And I went out there by myself for like 3 weeks. And I remember getting there, and I would just wake up at 7:30 in the morning, and I would just immediately start working, and I would just work until about 9:30 p.m. knocking doors. I did that 7 days a week for 3 weeks, just alone. It kind of sucked, but I made $150,000 in those 3 weeks. Right? It was great. Total commissions. Obviously, I wasn't paid the whole 150 right then, but it was a good amount up front. Yeah. It was enough that I was able to essentially pay off everything I needed to and pay to get the guys out to El Paso. There wasn't a ton of us anymore left because the shit fell apart, didn't get paid, and so we lost everything. But I still had like 6 or 7 dudes and Jacob and Max.
Yeah.
And so they came out to El Paso, and we started growing fast. I mean, I have a post on social media like 2018 in August. I think we did 186 deals, just in El Paso, just the one team.
Wow.
And so we were growing fast. We branched out in New Mexico, in Albuquerque. And then Max and Jacob went to Florida and opened an office, and we were just kind of going gangbusters. And I was like, damn, now we're making a lot of money. I have hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank again. This is years. This is like 2 years or something like that, 3 years.
So catch us at what year is this then?
So 2018, I know, is when we were for sure crushing. So we were doing pretty well.
So from 2016?
End of 2016 is when Max and Jacob joined me.
Okay.
And that's when we kind of went through the Eclipse bullshit.
Gotcha.
And then we made it. It was in 2017 at some point when we went to El Paso.
With Eris.
Right, with Eris Energy. And so by 2018, we were doing pretty good. Like,
okay.
And I'm still selling this whole time too. So like, I'm making pretty good money now.
How many total guys do you have at this point?
I have no idea. I'd have to pull it up, but we're pretty good. By 2018, I think we have a picture of like just the one team had like 50, 60 dudes in it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were growing pretty fast. I remember it was funny because one of my regionals who I recruited from Toys R Us at the time, he came out.
From Toys R Us?
Yeah. I recruited him from Toys R Us. When you're recruiting, bro, you're always recruiting.
Dude, that's what I'm talking
about. I'm like, damn, you can afford that baby crib? What job you do?
Yeah.
What job you doing, man?
It's
like, yeah, I'm recruiting him anywhere, bro. Like I was insane. He came out and like saw the office one time because I was recruiting him, and then he was like, okay, I want to do this, but he went back to Utah to move out. We had like 35, 40 dudes, and then when he came back out again a few months later, I had almost a whole brand new 35, 40 dudes. They called the meat grinder. Like I'm recruiting like a machine. I recruit all the time.
Are you getting your other guys to recruit too, or
Yes, a culture of recruiting. You can't do it by culture of recruiting.
That's what I'm talking about.
Super important. And so
maybe elaborate on that just for a second, because I don't think people understand. Like, man, yeah, I just feel like guys don't understand. They're like, dude, how did you? Well, some guys will ask me, how did you grow? It's like, dude, I can only recruit so many people. Yeah. Like, I can't recruit 400 people.
Yeah,
dude, it's
insane.
like it takes an army, dude, to like do that. It's like it's a culture of recruiting, a culture of alignment, of shared vision.
Yep.
That's what moves the needle. Maybe talk about that.
Yeah. So there's 3 sources of recruiting leads. So there's self-gen, right? I go out there and I recruit. And then there's campaign gen. I put money into Indeed. I put money into social media. I put money into generating recruiting leads, that way. And then there's team gen. Team gen is the best. I call it like the referrals of.
I love that, bro. That's so well said. Yeah.
And so those
self-gen, lead gen, team gen. Team generated leads.
Team gen is the best, but all 3 need to be going all the time. That's like, oh, well, I'll just do this one. Like, oh, all 3 need to be going all the time. You need to be self-genning. You need to have money going into something. If you're not investing into this, you're insane. Like, you need to have money going into it, and then your team needs to be going hardcore. Wow, that's awesome. All 3 need to go. For your team to create the culture, it needs 3 big things: recognition, reward, and meaning. So recognition, I say whenever I'm giving out recognition, just anytime I say, oh, look how many sales a guy did, I'm also saying, look how many recruits a guy had. Like always.
Gotta incentivize it, yeah.
There's no time I'm going to cover numbers and I'm just going to cover sales numbers. I'm going to be covering recruiting numbers. If there's a best sales rep of the month for sales, there's a best recruiting rep of the month. If there's a competition going for selling, there's a competition going for recruiting at the same time. Like recruiting is if you look at a sales organization, like in it by itself as a business, the operations side of the business is managing the reps, motivating the team, getting the guys on the doors, like all that kind of stuff is operations of your sales business. And then the recruiting is the sales arm of the sales business. Like the sales reps are your customers. Like you manage them, motivate them. That's like holding on to your customers. And as long as they stay, they bring you recurring revenue. But you have to have the sales arm to bring in new customers. If you're not bringing in new customers, you're not going to grow. And in fact, you will always die because inevitably you slowly lose customers. You'll slowly lose sales reps, right? Slowly. Even if you have amazing operations, so to speak, as a sales org, and you take really good care of them, you motivate them really well, like you train them really well. That's great operations as your leader. But if you don't have the sales arm, your org will die at some point slowly. You just lose customers for some reason. You have to look at it that way. And I'm like, dude, that's the sales side of my organization. Like I have to pump it up just like I would sales, right? Freedom looks at us, the sales, well, they're putting a lot of effort into pumping up the sales side. Well, my org, that's my sales side's recruiting. So like, you got to get that shit going, bro.
I'm saying if you did not just pause, rewind, write that shit out, you're missing out on gold. That is so well, it's how you articulate it. It's so well said, dude. It's like, it's just, I don't know, you can hear things a million times and, you can just shift how it's said, and put it into a different example of like, just right there of, hey, it's the sales side of my business is recruiting. I'd be crazy not to pump money into that, incentives into that. Yeah. Dude.
Your org.
Go write that down and study that. That's freaking gold, dude.
But
that's great.
I tell my guys 3 things. So recognition. So that's the first one we just went over. Reward. I mean, you have to have some kind of something financial tied to it. Like a lot of ours is, hey, you bring the guys in, you get to be the one, like they set the leads for you. You get leads. So it's the best source of lead gen is recruiting guys because they go out there and they, like, you've spent all this money on lead gen. I'm like, why don't you just recruit a few guys? And then they go out and knock doors and they set you a bunch of leads. Like, that's by far the best. And then, of course, a recruiting override. Everyone gets a recruiting override. I don't care who you are. If you recruit a guy, you need to get a recruiting override. So reward and then meaning. And meaning is the most powerful and the one that most people miss. So what I tell people is I'm like, look, everyone wants to, not everyone, but a lot of people want to have some kind of impact on the world around them, right? Like, when you sell someone solar, you can have a positive impact on that family. You can save that family $20 a month, $40 a month, and save them more and more every single year. You can have a positive impact on your community and on the world. When someone recruits someone else into this job and that person is successful, you're having a profound impact on them.
Deep, dude.
I look at like my life. Spencer was the guy that recruited me. He's not even in Dorter anymore. He's a dentist. But imagine had he not recruited me. Like my mom was able to live with me. I had a family member that was being crushed by credit card debt and they were probably going to lose their house. And I was able to pay off the credit card debt. I was able to save that home, for that person. I had another family member that was in a just very, very dark place, and attempted to commit suicide. And I was able to, spend a lot of money to get that person in a good place. Like there's just so many things I've been able to do in this life and who I am now, how happy I am, just so much impact has happened to me because he made that decision to recruit me. I was like, if you recruit a person and that person goes from making $50K a year to $200K a year, how much impact have you had on that human and their spouse and their kids and maybe even generations to come? If you want to have an impact on this world, realistically, there's probably nothing else you can do that would have more of an impact than recruiting guys. Like there's probably nothing. Like genuinely, like think about it. Like how else can you get someone to make an extra $150K a year? Like probably not. There's probably nothing. 'Cause some guys are like, oh, I don't want to recruit because what if they fail? I'm like, what if Spencer would have thought that about me? Well, I don't want to recruit Justin. He's my friend. And what if he fails? He's only done construction his whole life. I'm like, damn, that sucks. You know, so I'm like, that would have really sucked. Like, I'm goddamn glad he didn't say that. So, yeah. So
that's
recognition,
funny.
reward, and meaning. It's got to be everywhere. It's got to be in the culture. It's got to be talked about and that's how you get guys to.
Where'd you learn that? Just trial and error, or how to articulate that way? Where'd you learn that?
Yeah, trial and errors, like analyzing, like why. For me, a lot of it's just looking back, because a lot of stuff I just kind of did. Like I was like, oh, I need to recruit more, so I could better just throw up incentives but like looking back, like the times where recruiting was like going gangbusters. I was like, why was it going gangbusters? And then it's lead from the front all the time.
Totally.
Like, when my guys are out with, I think I recruited out of a desire to grow. Originally, not articulated on teaching it. I've become good at teaching it by looking back on why I did good. But mine was just out of a desire to grow. And so I was just talking about all the time. My guys would go out with me and we'd go out to whatever, out of the pool tables or whatever. And I'd be like, recruit that guy right now, $100 if you recruit that guy. Recruit that guy. We'd go out on an incentive on a night just to have fun. But during the night, the whole 4 hours, I'm like, whoever gets the most phone numbers tonight gets $500. You know, and the whole night, and it's just a game. And the whole night, we're like, but they got to show up to the meeting. And the whole night, it's just like, they're just trying to like talk to everybody and get them to show up to the meeting, get them to show up to the meeting, get them to show up to the meeting. And then I tell guys, like, I don't recruit people right then. The meeting recruits them. So you're just trying to get them to a meeting.
Just get them curious.
Get them curious.
Yeah.
Get them a meeting. Don't tell them to quit their job and you just met them 5 minutes ago. Like, just get them to a meeting, you know? And so.
It's like the setter trying to close the deal on the doorstep.
On the doorstep, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, dude, get them curious and let someone else and like an experience close
get
that
the
person.
position, like, at a table, not the doorstep. Like, exactly. It's the same thing with recruiting. And so we were growing, like, grow. Eris, so making money, yeah. And so, of course, here it comes. So Eris tried to swap from Sheets to NetSuite. And when they're swapping, they like lost all of her jobs, which is really bad.
For those that don't know, explain those.
So they're tracking all the jobs in like essentially
database.
Excel sheets,
Yeah.
right? And NetSuite is a CRM operating platform. And they want to take all the jobs from these sheets into NetSuite. And through the process, they just literally lost the jobs. Like
lost all the data.
The
like
data, yeah.
Who's the customer? Where are they at? Like,
I just lost the data.
Where do we owe money?
Yeah, it's just crazy.
It's just
and
gone.
So, like, we had jobs where it was like over 30 days for site survey. It was just like the whole shit was just falling apart. And so I was like, holy crap. And it started going like really bad. And at that point, they weren't giving me upfronts anymore. They were only giving me money to install. And so I was advancing reps like 25. I can't remember exactly what we were doing at that point, but 25 to 50% was upfront is what we were doing. And so I'm advancing all these reps, and all these jobs are just canceling, and I'm like,
or disappearing,
or just disappearing, you know, and or they disappear, then they'd end up canceling, and they just started really just kind of doing extremely bad operationally. And so I'm like, shit, I'm losing a lot of money, like super fast. Like it goes from making tons of money to losing tons of money very quickly. And I'm like, crap. And we're in multiple states with them at this point. And so I start finding other installers. I run into a company called Altaray, loved the guys. And I was like, all right, sweet, they're going to come in. So they came in, they started doing installs. And they were doing installs like a week, 2 weeks, super fast, crushing it. So we start shifting more of a volume to them, you know, and this is over the course of probably a year here at this point, but they shift more volume to them. And then after, I don't know, 6 months with them, they start cracking too, you know, 4 to 6 months, they start cracking and they just start no showing jobs like a lot, just installing panels on the wrong side of the roof, like north side of the face, just installing them there like 7-8 times to, you know, get stuff past permit, like inspections, like filling inspections. It was just like going really badly. And Eris calls me up on the phone and they're like, dude, we have a non-compete, you know, if you don't come back, we're going to sue you into the dirt and we're going to just smash you. And I'm like, oh shit. So, you know, which is my bad. I did sign that agreement, you know, and I fucked up, but I was also like, bro, I was going to go out of business if I kept staying with you. So like, I'm going out of business either way, you know, but they figured out the NetSuite thing. So I was like, all right, cool. Well, all right, well, you and me both let bygones be bygones. And so I come back to Eris, you know, for the almost all the volume. And at the same time, we have all these jobs with Altaray that still need to get done and finished, and they stop paying us on all the jobs. You know, even though we're still finishing it, they stop paying us on all the jobs, and we sue them, they sue us, and it just starts going like this crazy thing there. I advanced all the reps still on those jobs with Altaray. Altaray ends up declaring bankruptcy and just never pays us anything, and I have to pay all the reps on those jobs. So it was tough. Like I lost a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars with Altaray, and I was like, damn, dude, shit. So we're back with Eris though. You know, and we're kind of doing, you know, we're doing good, you know, again, we're like, all right, so we're kind of growing. Luckily, we didn't have a non-compete in Florida. So in Florida, we're like, dude, these installers are really making shit like bad. Like we just keep getting our butts kicked because these installers, you know, it happened with Origin Renewables, happened freaking in Utah with multiple different companies. Like it just keeps happening over and over. So like, we're going to do our own installs in Florida. And so Jacob spearheads us starting our own install company out in Florida. And so out there, we start our own installs. The rest of the place with Eris, and our non-compete comes up, and we swap away from them. We go to Solcius. Like, all right, dude, these guys are just, they don't got their shit together. We're going to Solcius. So non-compete's done, so we're fine. Cancel that contract, go to Solcius. And from there, that point, we just start doing really well. Like, so our install just slowly grows, you know, in Florida, slowly grows year after year after year, just keeps growing. You know, we go into Colorado with Solcius and in Arizona.
So you guys are doing your own installs in Florida, and then the other states,
all the other states,
you're doing
Solcius.
Gotcha.
And we get to the point where like 70% of Solcius's volume, like we're going really well. Like we're just crushing and grow, you know, and then Florida's growing like super fast, you know, and year after year, we just keep growing. 2022, we're like, I mean, we're just flying 30,000, you know, feet in the air. Like, I mean, I think our gross sales was like $500 million. And then our actual income was like over $200 million just for the freaking EPC side. And like, we're just like crushing. We're doing over 1,000 deals a month averaged,
installed.
You know, not installed, gross sales.
Oh,
gross sales. Okay. Yeah. I think our realization rate was around 65 to 70%. So we had a pretty good realization rate. Well, yeah, we were just like crushing. Solcius got bought by a company called Sunworks. And so then they started struggling, you know, on that side. And it was, the reps were getting pissed. We started losing reps on that side, and it was just going not great. We ended up branching out and taking over all the operations from Solcius as well. So we ended up doing the whole thing in-house, right? The whole thing was just in-house in all the states. And so we took over all that. Everything was great. 2023 came along, and, you know, if things are going great, they're about to go bad. So, I mean, dude, we have so much money. I mean, we're just insane. I mean, I think I paid almost $3 million in taxes one year. It was just
dude,
like,
that
just
is
so,
wild.
so much money, dude. Like Max got a private jet. You know, I think like, it was just, we had a lot of money.
Life's good,
dude. Yeah, a lot of money.
What's funny, dude, is like, this is what, you know, getting into your guys' story of like resilience is, I think it's to have touched that, experienced that, because solar was baller a couple of years ago. Like, you know, everyone had their own dealer. Everyone was making crazy amounts of money. And, you know, I had opportunity to sit down with Casey Baugh and Bodie Gardner at Vivint, you know, some of the main guys at Vivint last week. And they were talking about those times, and they were like, they brought up a good point. They're like, it's just crazy to me that people thought that was just like, going. It's just always gonna be like this. Like, it's just normal, you know? And it's like, he talks about how, if you can get through this, it's like, it's seasonal, right?
Yes,
like, we're like,
cyclical.
solar's gone through a winter. And if you can survive the winter, you will crush this next spring and summer.
Oh yeah.
Because it's eliminated
all cyclical.
Everyone. And, you know, that makes me feel really good about our position, obviously, is because we're
really
like, everyone's coming here. So, like, when spring and summer come back, because it will come back.
Yep.
We are, like, set up.
It's already coming back.
Yeah.
My guys love what the offering we have right now. Like, we literally just had our meeting here with, you know, with all these guys at Waste Management. And we're like, dude, like, we have better offering today than we've ever had. We've never had an offering like we have today. This is so freaking good. I was like, dude, and every single job we sell at the offering we have today with customers just adds one more person that speaks good about solar. Because solar went through the winter, so to speak, because dude, people were just screwing people left and right.
You charge $6.
Yeah, people were just screwing homeowners, and that caused a bad name. But every single deal we sell adds one more happy customer into the mix, and so it's just slowly just coming back to the happy side. And the amount of money we're saving is only increasing because our baselines are coming down, and the amount of costs for electricity is only going up. The offering is only improving every single day. But
well, I think to your point too is, you know, meeting with so many guys that made great money. Like, they were, especially like Florida or like some of those areas that were, you know, Lumio AKE days, like popping.
Yeah.
I mean, like sales reps making crazy money because they were charging $6. You know, they were making $2,500 a kilowatt. Like, just insane money.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of what gets talked about is I feel like it's hard not to compare solar then versus now. And they're like, dude, I'm just not, you know, it's like, yeah, of course it's not the same. Like, it's a completely different climate, completely different thing. But I think what was cool to see this last week of like kind of the earners at pros was
There's a lot of big earners.
there's a lot of people making a lot of money still. It's
money.
like, and these other companies are out of business, and there's still people making millions of dollars here. It just
some of multiple millions.
Yeah,
Top
it's
five
like,
is like multiple millions.
yeah, it's like, dude, it's very real still. But you know, back to my point with you guys, to have touched that, especially the level you guys were at.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys are in private jets, dude. Like, life's pretty good.
we were the Inc. 5000. I mean, we dipped into the top 20 installers in the nation for a little while, which is amazing, according to Ohm Analytics or whatever.
Yeah.
But top 20 in the nation, and I'm like, dude, we're almost always tied in the top 3 always, but a lot of times we're the number 1 installer in the state of Florida, and so like we were doing extremely well. I think in the energy sector. For Inc. 5000, we were the 9th fastest growing company in the energy sector, 147th in the whole U.S. Wow. And then at a solar company specifically, I can't remember what it was, but it was like the 4th or 5th fastest growing. And that's when we were a good size too. So it's not the percentages wise, like we were crushing, dude. Like it was freaking fun. I would say going into 2023, I mean, heck, we did like the amount of upfront pay we were doing was kind of insane. Our baselines were a little higher, but we were doing massive upfront commissions, just like crazy stuff. Then 2023, the interest rates, as we all know, just like shot up, combined with the lenders just going crazy. Like they're just, you know, they're coming in there and they're like clawing back on jobs like a ton, like not funding you until you do X, Y, Z. And like the amount of money, you used to be able to get money up front, you know, which Meraki never took money up front. We waited till install to take money because we didn't want fake money, which I think that's what made us last so much longer than a lot of other people. but even though we were ready for that no upfront part, they were clawing back like crazy. They're setting up indemnity reserves where it's like, look, we'll fund you, but we're actually put a whole bunch of money in this. We want $1 million just sitting here in case, you know, jobs cancel or whatever. And it started getting very difficult. Your bottom and middle reps, you know, really struggled. Like,
yeah, they get pinched.
Yeah, they were so used to just it being so easy, barely working, and you can do it. The top guys, honestly, were selling pretty much just as well, but the bottom and middle guys just fell out, and that's demotivating for the top guys because, you know, they want overrides and they want to grow.
Well, you're losing momentum.
Momentum, correct. And so as this happens, this is a course of 2023, right? At the end of 2022 is kind of when shit started like hitting the fan. And then all of 2023, it was just this fight. So a whole year of just this fight, like where it's just like slowly losing more money, you know, while we're fighting. We had a month where we lost $1 million, and I went back and I fired my CFO, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna be the CFO again and the CEO. And so like I know the books extremely well, especially at high scale. I was doing books and CEO. Those are opposing roles, which are very hard. A CEO's role is like the visionary, you know, like we're going to take over. We ain't going out of business no matter fucking what. Like we're taking over this universe, son of a bitch. And the CFO is literally the opposite. It's like, bro, if you don't cut XYZ, we're dead. You know, if you don't do this, we're going to die. You know, risk management, like they're completely opposing roles. And I'm trying to do both of them like at the same time. Like be like, we're never going to die, but unless you do that, then we're going to die. You know, and like,
dude, that's
like
crazy.
I'm like firing people. We have like 700 W-2 employees, and we had over 1,000 like sales reps, and we were onboarding 300 to 400 guys a month. Like we were quite large, and I'm juggling these two roles, and we're just like month after month, it's just like, all right, we got to do more cuts, and like firing, and it's just, and then you're in big contracts too. So and I was telling you before, but we had like 30-40% of our volume was direct. And we had a contract that we got into when panel prices went crazy for 48 cents for panels, which back then was amazing because
in 22.
Yeah, amazing because freaking people were paying 60 cents for panels and 70 cents for panels because it's hard to get them. We had this contract for American-made panels for 48 cents, $2 million deposit, you know, and we had. But the problem is our volume dipped. It was supposed to only be about a year's worth of panels, but as our volume dipped, it starts stretching out, 1.5 years, 2 years worth of panels, and everyone else's the panel prices plummeted down to 20-something cents for panels. And I'm like, dude, I'm paying 48 cents. Like I can't keep going for a whole year, 28 cents worse than the competition, 20 cents worse than the competition. And I was like, we gotta get out of this contract. And so we lost the $2 million deposit, and then to get out of it, we had to pay another $1 million because they were supposed to make this much profit on all the jobs. And so we ended up losing like $3 million like overnight like that. And as we start losing, you know, profit and cash flow and stuff, like I'm meeting with our financial backers, you know, our bankers, and I'm sitting up in front of these board meetings with all these bankers, and I'm like explaining like, yeah, we lost $1 million last month, but this is what we're gonna do. This is how we're gonna fix it, and just like month after month, it's just like this fight. I remember like
They're like, am I talking to CEO Justin
or CFO Justin? I'm like, CEO Justin. You don't talk to CFO Justin. and so I'm like fighting, and it just we just can't get the momentum back. Like it just keeps slipping. I mean, it was hard, and keep firing. I remember one time going into 2024, or first we I went and did a trip. Like Max went to the west side and visited all the offices. I did a 2-week trip. I'm driving around visiting all the offices, and I just remember like right before that we went, because we kept trying to just cut down just enough to where we'd cut even as a company, and then sales would dip, and then we'd cut to just even as a company, and sales would dip. We kept doing that, and it's like that's really hard on employees, because it's like literally cuts are happening every single month, and employees are like, dude, who's next? The thing I'm the most proud of, honestly, is the fact that our employees just like stuck with us that entire time. Like we did not have people quitting, really, like not really. They stuck with us because they just like believed in us, and we took good care of them. Like I'm very proud of that fact. I think most companies, you start firing like that, most employees will be like, well, I need to go find another job, and they start quitting, and that's where it kills you. They didn't. They stuck with us. I'm very proud of the leaders, and I'm proud of who put that, everyone that was part of putting that culture together, that those people would stick with us. But I had to keep firing. We came to the point where like, all right, we're going to do a big cut. We're $500,000 a month off payroll. Like we're going to do a big monster cut, and we're going to get to where we're profitable over 6 figures per month. As long as sales hold. As long as sales hold, we'll be making over $100,000 a month. We made the big cut. I went on that trip, visited all the offices, and then I just remember like got on a phone call with Jacob. He was the COO at the time, and I just remember, honestly, like we were both just talking, and I was just so exhausted, like just 16 hours a day. Because when this shit started first happening, I was like, all right, guys, like our baby needs us. Like we're not going on vacations. We're not doing nothing. Like we're 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like we're just gonna work forever, like kind of a thing. Like our baby needs us. And so like this is when it first started going bad. And so this has been over a year of that, of just going, and like we're reinvesting our money back into the company. Like we're just burning this money like you wouldn't even believe, like just flamethrowing money, like, and just like putting it in, like, let's go, come on. And I just remember calling and like having a breakdown like with him on the phone. Like it was just like he started getting emotional, I started getting emotional. It was just like we both just broke down on the phone together, and like I was like, holy shit, okay, I'm like, all right, put it back together. This is where I was meant to be. This moment right here, baby. Let's fucking do it. And so the waves got to touch me. And so, and so like, let's do it. And so then I get back there. I was like, all right, sweet. We did the cut of all cuts. I took 15% of the company, and I gave it to the W-2 leadership, that had stuck with us so long. So I was like, dude, you guys went through this shit with us. You deserve some of the company. And so I gave them 15% of the company. And like we did the cut of all cuts. And so then I got back, and I remember going to the executive meeting that day. It was like a week after I got back, and I went and I would do all the projections. So basically like it was at the end of the month. So I look at how much sales we did, and then projected based off of that, like up, down, like how much our costs are going to be. And our sales had dropped again that month, enough to where not only we're not going to make money, we're going to lose like $150,000, $200,000 a month if we didn't cut again. And I was like, adjusted the cut of all cuts, but now I got to cut again. And I remember being in the executive meeting, and we're all talking, and I just remember like pulling up the numbers and doing that on the side while we were talking. And I just like, I swear the blood must have left my face, because like, they were like, what's going on? And I'm like, like, dude, it's like, we got to cut, man. Got to cut it again. And I'm like, got to do it, man. Got to freaking cut, dude. And I was like, shit, dude. Like, I can't go to these employees. I can't just fire more of them. I think we're down to like 170, 180 from almost 700. I'm like, damn, dude. And that was just like so hard. Like, it was just so freaking hard. I was like, all right, got to cut again. So we cut again. And I was like, all right, we have about a year left of what I considered capital that I can keep running this like right before we just hit the wall and we're dead. Right. I have about a year left. I was like, I need a contingency plan.
When's this?
This is in 2024. So this is not that long ago. Yeah. So probably June, May, June of 2024. I'm like, we have about a year left, and now in that year, if we pull it out, like, we're good. But we have about a year left. We have a line of credit we're working on with Regions, and I'm like, it's a $10 million line of credit. We've used up about 4.5 or something like that. I'm like we have this line of credit, like we can survive probably another year, but if it keeps going, like we're gonna be dead, you know. And so I was like, we got to get a contingency plan in place, you know. And I was like, the contingency plan, of course, is we just got to give this operation thing up, and let's get all of our reps and get them to a good place, right? A good place where they can make money and they can be successful. Obviously, Freedom came to mind. I talked to Freedom for like 4 years. I'd negotiated forever to try to get them to let us use them outside of our markets where we installed, because we had a lot of teams, as everyone was dying. We had a lot of teams calling us and being like, hey, we want to use Meraki. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to open up operations in a new state for 15 sales a month, bro. Like, I'm not going to do that because you could easily turn to 0 sales a month. So I wanted to use Freedom, but they always said no because they're exclusive, super smart for them, good business call. But me and Chad actually went back and forth. I remember last call, Chad, you know, he was like upset because we had been on so many calls. He's like, no, we're not doing it, you know, and it was just funny. And like, but we were debating. And so then finally I was like, I'm going to fly out there because I need to line this up. I wasn't actually planning on joining Freedom right then. I just needed to get it ready, you know, in case we'd run out of the money and we need somewhere to go. And I went and met with Brett, met with all of them. We went through the books, you know, and I was floored. You know, I was absolutely floored. Like looking at the books, I was like, man, their economies of scale was just so much more powerful than I thought. Like there's a grouping of expenses, which is like, you know, equipment and, you know, trucks and shrinkages. This one grouping of expenses was beating ours by like 40 cents. And I was like, damn, dude, like 40 cents is a lot. Like on the EPC side, you're fighting tooth and nail for 5. I was like, 40 cents is just a staggering number. Like that is just, it's very difficult to make that up, you know. And then employees was another 20 cents, which makes sense. You know, you only need one CFO for 1,000 deals a month or one CFO for 10,000 deals a month. So like those, you know, directors and stuff with the economies of scale, they just get extremely inexpensive, you know, per deal. And I was like, that's a 60-cent swing. Like we're not going to make that up. You know, like I was like, even if we do pull this out and we start growing again and we start taking over and crushing, I'm like, I've always been an extremely passionate leader, and I've always been able to go in front of my guys and like, you can pull up any other competitor and you can show me their pay scales, and like I can argue with you why ours is just as good or better. Like, and I've always felt that, and I'm very passionate. You need to be passionate to, you know, do that. After I saw Freedom's books, I was like, that the first time in my career, you know, I was like, that it's not the case. Like they're just better. Like they're just better, a lot better. And
because you can't compete.
I can't compete with that.
You can't compete with like what it would take to get that margin. You would have to grow your company 25x.
Yep, and they would have to stop growing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like they're going to keep growing. They're growing like my company's size. Like every 6 months, the whole entire company's size, they're growing in 6 months. So I'm like, I'm just not going to. Like, let's be realistic. Like, there's comes a point in any industry when a player arises, you know, Walmart or whatever arises, that their economies of scale get so big that you're just not really competing with that anymore unless you have $1 billion or something. And it's even worse in solar than it is in those other industries because the product we're selling is saving money. So price is pretty goddamn important when your product is saving money.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's really important, you know, especially at door-to-door sales, because we all want to make a lot of money. Like, why do guys leave orgs and become dealers? Baselines. You know, like there's just so many things that I was like if I signed up my grandma, I'd sign up for Freedom, not Meraki, you know. And I'm like, damn, like this is just super hard pill to swallow. I mean, we went back to the hotel that night and like, and we all had a bunch of breakdowns. Like it was really hard. Like it was extremely hard. And I was like, we need to shut this down. We need to get all our guys to this. It's better. We should just shut it all down.
Because at first it was a contingency plan, not thinking of doing it, and then you guys saw it and you were like, we should have done this.
We should have done this forever ago. I was like, man, dude, if we would have freaking done Freedom instead of Solcius, you realize how successful we'd be right now? Like, dude, it'd be insane. Like, we'd be making probably even more money than we were making back then because we'd be just so big. Not that I'd be making more per deal, but like, we'd be so absolutely monstrous because their platform is just, it's so much better than anyone else's platform. Like, it's night and day. Not that it doesn't have flaws. Everyone has flaws, but like they pinpoint what's the most important, and that's what they're the best at. And so they're crushing. They're just dominating everyone else. And I'm like we have to get on this boat. You know, like we got to shut this thing down. Like I've done this, and we were originally going to be a dealer for Freedom was the plan. I still had a few $1 million left over, you know, and I was like, all right, and you know, I've ran this thing for a long time. I know how to run a dealer like very well. Like, wow, I'll just be a dealer. But I was like, Freedom Pros, you know, came to me and was like, don't be a dealer, like come in-house, you know, with Freedom Pros. And of course I was like, no, but they're like, look, the amount of money we're making on you is less than, we're pretty much just taking enough to cover the expenses. Of course I didn't believe them because we're all salesmen. But I ran the numbers and they were right. Like it was actually, the amount of money Pros keeps on their upper level leadership is half as much as it would cost me to run my own dealership, just cost wise. And I was like, and I don't have to do any of the payroll. I don't have to do any of the swag. I don't have to do shit. I just go recruit, go train, go motivate. Like, that's all I got to do. I was like, dude, and I make more money. There's more margin for me than if I did my own. I was like, it makes 0 sense to be a dealer. Like, just 0 cents. In-house with the pros is the only, like, that's the only path. And I was like, all right, I'm going
Especially
in-house.
if you're your size, right? Like, and like what you guys are doing, like, yeah, like, and then, I mean, you said it like at the very beginning when you were lone wolf versus culture, company culture,
So
team
powerful.
culture, competition, seeing what's possible, all of the growth, all of the momentum, everything. It's like, why would we be a lone wolf when we could come in?
And it's been so powerful for my guys too, because they come into the big stage. They're in the NBA, not just some weird side thing. Like, they're in the NBA, they get to compete with guys doing 40, 50 deals a month now. They get to be on stage with guys that can do that. Teams that can do hundreds of deals a month. Like, regions doing divisions doing thousands of deals. Like, they get to compete on that stage, and that's just so powerful. Like, money aside, that's just extremely powerful, and it's been massively beneficial for my guys too. Going that route instead of the dealer route. I'm very happy, very, very happy we did not go the dealer route. So went that route. Still lost probably 30% of the dudes in the transition because transitions are tough. Like, who is this new company? Blah blah blah. Like,
how many guys did you bring over then? You think that are still here?
That are still here now? I'd have to look because we've recruited a ton of guys like so fast. I honestly couldn't even tell you off the top of my head. We had probably 200 plus dudes that transitioned over with us at the time.
So sales guys.
Sales guys. Yeah, just sales guys, 100%. I have no idea. I'll get the numbers, but yeah, I don't know how many of them of the transition. There's a lot. So we still have our second biggest region.
And you're saying 200 was what was left over after losing?
No, that's after losing
40%.
No, that's the total that came over. We ended up losing 40% of that.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So, geez.
100 something dudes.
100 something guys.
Yeah, that are still here, like.
Yeah, okay. Even there, dude, like, I think that just the resilience, like, knowing that, like, in a way you're starting over, like, obviously that's nice to know that, some people would be like, dude, if I had 100 guys, my transition over was, I had about 70 guys before we formed pros, and our experience in 22 is so bad that by the time, October rolled around, pros forms, there was a little recruiting battle inside of that. And then by January, February, my 70 guys in 22 dwindled down to 5. So we're restarting. So, but I mean, I wasn't running a massive company or anything like that. It was just like it had grown regions and things like that, but it's still like a mini business, right? In the sense of, I think that people oftentimes, I don't know what's worse, like coming over with no one or having tasted so much success that you're like, oh, I'm only, it's all perspective. Yes, I'm only bringing over 120 guys. Bro, we were flying in private jets, making, whatever. It's like, we had 700 W2 employees. I admire you guys for that because to me, it shows me that you're still in it for the right reasons for the guys. Because you guys, a lot of people making that kind of money, like you go invest or whatever and go kind of not sell off into the sunset, but you have options. And to want to choose to come grind, because it's not easy here even, dude. It's like, where's momentum? But like, as a leader, you're expected to do everything. You need to do everything here. It's not like, oh yeah, like you got, like, there's a lot of expectation here. Yeah, it's like insane. Top guys, like, you got to know your shit, dude. Like,
yeah, well, especially when you're competing on a big stage like this. The bigger the stage is, the more the pressure, which is good.
Yeah,
it's
like
great. The pressure.
Yeah, we love it, dude. That's cool. So I admire you guys for that, dude. Like, it shows me, like, these guys are in it for the, like, if you guys are watching this, like, know that that's not like, that's just a testament of good leadership, in my opinion. So,
yeah. We had a lot of options too. Like, that's the other thing is, like, we could have easily gotten a few $1 million sign on. Nope. For our volume, how big we are, like, no problem. We could have got a few $1 million to join it. Like, tons of companies out there. We took 0 sign on to come over, like 0.
That's another testament to it.
It's because, there's no platform that comes even close. to the pros. Like, it's just not even close. Like, and so I was like, no, I just rather be here. We took the money and utilized it to service the customers.
Yeah.
You know, so Freedom's helping service some of the customers, you know, in the meantime with the ones that we had just installed, because we want to make sure when they first installed, in case anything's done wrong, you know, fix it or whatever. But we took no personal, you know, sign on. Obviously, we're in a great position, which I'm very happy about. And then we have grown a ton. Like, that's the thing, is I knew we were going to grow faster with the pros, but I honestly underestimated just how fast. Like, having the machine behind you, so to speak, just makes it it's so easy. It's so easy to recruit. It's so easy to build. It's so easy to grow. Like, when you have such a massive refined machine, you know, behind you. Like, it's been fun. Like, it's been super fun.
Well, I mean, another thing we're talking about is coming from, you know, you controlled everything in your company. Mm-hmm. You knew all the books, all the insight, all the ins and outs. And I think it's hard for people to, like, at that level, like, I think that would be hard for me to come in and be like, okay, my role's shifted and I'm just doing these things for my people. Like, I'm still that same role for my people, but not like on a company scale. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, again, that's another, I'm just thinking about that. I'm like, man, that would be difficult. I think sometimes when you've tasted what that's like, and, you know, the speed you guys could probably have moved, where with Freedom, it's a bigger machine.
Yeah, it's a big boat. Yeah, big boats are hard to turn.
Yeah, it's like you can't just make sharp turns. You know, it's like we're not doing that here. It's like we're trudging on, and sometimes we have to bend to them versus, you know, you guys could have probably done things a little bit differently. I mean, maybe talk about that. Like, what?
So for me, I mean, it's been the best thing that's ever happened. There, you know, with great power comes great responsibility, like Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, when you're in that role, like, yes, you have all the control, but at the same time, you have none of it. Like, you have no control at all. Like, I can't do anything. Like, I can't go out there and recruit a bunch of dudes and get sales up. You know, I can't go sell a bunch of soul. I can't even get operations. I can't do anything. I rely on other people to do everything. Yes, I tell them what to do. Yes, I'm directing the machine, you know, but at the end of the day, you don't actually have more control. You know what I mean? And then, but you have all the responsibility. You know, at the end of the day, it's all your fault. You know, if you're the CEO, it's all your fault. Everything's your fault. If I hired let's say a CFO, let's say an expert, his whole life, all he's done is numbers, like, and he's the absolute best at numbers, you know, and he comes in and he gives me advice. Hey man, this is what you need to do with your numbers. And if I listen to him and it goes wrong, it's my fault, right? It's my fault. It's not his fault. It's mine, you know, and that's, it's heavy, you know, and it weighs on you, and like, it's a lot. And so not that it's not my fault anymore. I'm still at a high position. I kind of still try to keep that attitude. But it is nice that it limits my focus to sales, because before my focus was legal. I'm meeting with my CLO, my legal officer, my legal team. I'm going over all of our lawsuits, which, you know, whatever, you have like every other, you know, every Tuesday you get a new batch, you know, of lawsuits. And like I'm meeting with my accounting team. We're going over the books, and I'm doing a lot of meeting with operations. I'm going over that. Like, and then sales is just a piece of the giant machine, you know, that you're managing. The sales is the fun part. Like, that's the fun part. That's where we go out there and we get a bunch of dudes and we hang out and we go to an Airbnb and we, you know, freaking shoot water guns at each other. Like that's the fun part. Like enjoy it. Like, oh, I lost the team. You're like, dude, what? Like, whatever. Like, the job is so freaking fun. Like, it doesn't, like, it's just such a fun job.
Yeah.
You know, like, just don't get so stuck in the ups and downs that you don't enjoy it anymore. Like, this job is so freaking fun. You know, whether you're currently growing right now or not. Like, and that's, I know you asked me, like, what I think kind of defines me as a leader, you know, like myself. And I think it's just that, it's like the resilience factor, you know, like delusional optimism. Like, I'm just like, I like my job. Like, again, I kind of pull it back to that moment, right? Things happen around me, you know, all the time. They always happen around me, but they don't happen to me. And no matter where if I'm paying $3 million in taxes that year because I'm taking over the universe, or I'm back. I mean, I was in government housing and food stamps before I ever even got into door to door. You know, like, I had to go to my landlord and I couldn't pay my $400 a month rent. You know, like, but I was happy as hell when that happened. I was super happy.
Yeah.
I was a happy guy.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, it doesn't really, like, at the end, my life is pretty similar, honestly, even those two extremes. Like, I still woke up, I worked out. You know, I read my books to improve myself. I went to work all day. I'd come home, watch Netflix. You know, like, that my life is pretty similar. The private jets for the from the freaking food stamps. It's pretty similar to life, actually. It's not that different. It seems like it is, but not. Like, I love the grind. I like that kind of stuff, and you have to keep that backed up mental space in this job, because I think like the further you go, you'll notice a vast difference between the leaders at the top. They have so much more emotional intelligence than the guys at the bottom. And if you want to be at the top, you got to develop that emotional intelligence. You have to develop it. You have to be okay with failing a lot, not a little bit, like dick punches all day, bro. like you need to be ready for that shit,
Yeah.
Like you need to be ready for that shit. Like I've seen guys that like, they go through one building up of a team and it falls apart and they're like, ugh, and they're like gonna die, and they're like, oh, it's over, Solar sucks. I'm like, dude, bro, that ain't not like, you need to get ready, man. If you want to be successful in this shit, like you need to be ready for like the down and up like 100,000 times. Like you got to be looking for it. You got to be like, all right, here it comes, baby. Like, let's do this thing. Like the hard's coming, instead of being like, oh, the hard's coming. It's like, all right, let's go. You put your head down and just like right into that thing. Cause like you have to look for it, because that's where the true leaders are. Like that's the people that are going to crush. Cause then they come out, like you said, it's all cyclical. They come out the other side. And every time you have a hard thing happen in your life, you should be very happy in our industry, because that adds to your story. Like how many amazing stories have you heard where the guy was like, yeah, I was born with $1 billion dad and he gave me all the stuff and now I have $1 billion. You're like, well, okay, that's not cool. But the guy's like, yeah, I was in jail and I was on drugs and life was bad, and then I grew up big and then it went down and then I grew up big again and I'm crushing. Like that guy's inspiring, and that's amazing, and it's because it's hard, and like you should be happy. Like you're in a refining moment, and sometimes you're in the winning moment and it's great and all that stuff, and then you get refined again and then you win again. It's like, if you want to have big muscles, you got to tear the muscles and then you got to build them back. Like it's not bad. You got to get through the bad.
It's funny because I think that we just forget that that's like what we sign up for, like just in life in general. It's like just know that hard stuff will happen. You can't escape it.
Nope.
And I think sometimes we think that, like, we don't think enough about it, and then when it happens, we're like, why? It's like, well, that's what happens. It's strange. Guilty, dude. I remember crying in Brett Bushy's office one of the first times I met him, because we were losing all of our guys, and I was like, I can't rebuild again. I can't do it. This will kill me. This will be I won't do it. And I redid it.
They did it.
It's like, I've done that multiple times, and it's so funny because you look at, there's probably not a main leader that I've ever met that doesn't have 10 different stories of like just getting their shit kicked in. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like, there's not one guy I've ever met that's like came in, was good, and we just consistent, steady growth for 15 years in the industry.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? He's just like, yeah, man, I've just had great systems.
Yeah.
Like good leadership.
Good leadership.
Yeah, we just developed the right guys. I made the right moves, never made a mistake. It's like,
yeah, right.
Show me that guy.
Yeah, I was like, you listen to Business Wars, you're like, you realize Pepsi, I think they're on their 8th time of bankruptcy and someone else bought the name kind of shit. Like all growth curves look like this. I've never seen any company, not let alone in the solar industry, just any company anywhere, anytime, where their growth curve is just a nice and steady little line up in the air. So I'm like, if you want to be successful, dude, like just get ready, man. And again, try to literally just enjoy it. I try to have those really difficult moments be empowering. I am the person that was meant for this role, this difficult moment. Like, let's just freaking do it. Like, come hell or high water, like I can handle it. Whatever happens, I can handle it.
Do you feel that way, like your personal life too, or like I mean, obviously we're talking about business, but your dad, like those moments, or I went divorce.
I went through a divorce. Yeah, nothing to do with work. Like I was like, oh, was he working a lot? Like, no. We came out of our religion, and after coming out of our religion, had to find who we were as human, as people now, and our morals and stuff, and we just were very different of what we wanted out of life, and that.
But still difficult, dude.
Extremely
still
difficult. We were
challenging.
Yeah, extremely, extremely difficult, and obviously my dad dying was way more difficult than that. But it is the same thing. It's just like, look, you don't have a lot of options at the end of the day. Like, you only have so many options you can do. Realize that, appreciate where you're at, even when you're at the bottom. I'm still here. Like I'm still, like I said, eating food, pooping in the toilet. Like that's what I say. I don't know. It's the same thing. It's like I'm just. It's not like I was it's not like life was really that different. I just woke up. I went to work. Like life. It's still good. You know, even when it's really bad, it's still pretty good. You know, and so keeping that mindset and then enjoying the hard. You know, and just busting through it, knowing you're growing. You know, that's helped me a lot. And looking for it. You know, I like that. Like look for those moments, because the harder something is generally it's associated with how much value you have with it. You know, I tell guys, don't wish, you know, I think this is actually a saying someone said, but like, don't wish for it to be easier, just wish for you to be stronger. You know, like whenever all this shit's coming at you, you're like in sales, you're like, dude, solar sales reps make a ton of money. I was like, let's pretend it went the way you wanted. Let's pretend it went so freaking easy. Like it's just super easy. You just show up to leads all day and the leads are soft and they're only people interested in solar. You pretty much just show it to them and they sign up and you make great money. Imagine that the reality and that's what happens. Well, guess what's going to happen? You know, since it's so easy, it'll be very easy to hire people for $20 an hour to do it. You know, and not that people want to do that, but once someone can hire them for $20 an hour, they will do it for $20 an hour. And their prices will be significantly cheaper than everyone else's prices. And when that happens, the other companies will have a choice. Also hire people for $20 an hour or go out of business. And that'll be their option, and they will. And you will not have a job anymore. Like, wishing for it to be easy is not always what you really want. Well, like, you want it hard.
Yeah, the hard's the separator.
Yeah. Like, I want it really heavy. I want it so freaking heavy where I'm one of the few people that can actually lift the weight. Because if I'm one of the few people that can lift the weight, there's a massive reward. You know, like if I'm the only doctor that exists in a whole country, like I'm probably paid pretty goddamn good money.
Yeah.
You know, like oil changes. Imagine if there's only 2 people in the whole US that could do oil changes. Like yeah, I'm gonna make some pretty good money probably. Yeah. You know, like don't wish for it to be easy, because as soon as it gets easy, it's an oil change. You know, they get rid of you. Like you don't wish for it to be easy. It's good. It's good that it's hard.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Yeah, I've always adopted the mindset. I don't know where this came from. I learned it early, and it was taught to me like this, like the law of opposition. Mm-hmm. And it was basically like the level of difficulty or hardship of the thing, right? Solar, business crashing, divorce, whatever it is, the level of difficulty of the thing is a mere reflection of the reward for getting through it on the other side.
Yep.
So you know if it's kind of medium hard, well, there's a medium reward.
Yep.
And you know if it's like what you're talking about, the weight of the world is on you.
Yep.
The reward for going through that is as big as that. So sometimes when it's hard, it's like smile a little bit because you're like, something good is coming.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like, heck yeah, like, okay, that's a little bit easier for me to get behind, like running into the storm. Like, you know, everyone's like, oh, the buffalo, they run, they when a storm comes, they run directly through the storm while the other animals run away. They run through it just because it's faster, right? Mm-hmm. They get through the storm and then they're on the other side where everyone else is running away and it kind of catches up to them. But it's the same thing where if you can just understand that one, it's a law to me. Like, it's like gravity. If I have a pen and I drop it 10 out of 10 times, it's going to fall. Can't change that. If something's hard, then it's worth getting through. Mm-hmm. You know, and the harder it is, the bigger the reward. So people that do the hardest stuff typically have the best rewards for it.
Yep.
The best family life, the best marriages, the best relationship with their kids, the best businesses, but it comes from a shit ton of hard things.
Yep. And consistent. I mean, I've been in this for about 14 years now in door to door. And I mean, to all the guys listening out there, like, I was not like naturally skilled. You know, I wasn't special. I was whatever position they're in today, like I was in that position. You know, like you tell me you had days, like I had a long time where I had many days where I was like, I couldn't get myself out of the car. I couldn't get myself to knock doors. Like I called it my Great Depression of door to door. I was playing video games and it was just like hard to get myself out there. Like I've had to go through the learning curves of how to recruit. There's a point in my career where I was really good at sales, but I couldn't recruit. I didn't recruit anybody. I was tough at recruiting. I had to get that part down. Like wherever you're at, like anyone that's hyper amazing successful, they were at that point too. Like you can do it. You know, like I went all the way from the same path everyone would do. Like the trainee, you know, on the doors, first time, thinking, holy shit, knocking doors is hard. And slowly just developing. And the other thing is, don't freaking change up so much. Like, like I've been with this org now, essentially the Meraki org, for a really long time. Like a very, very long time. Like a lot of guys let's say this place isn't so green, I'm gonna go here. Like, this place isn't so green, I'm gonna go here. And this place, and you just restart. Transitions are very tough. I'm not saying you never transition, because there's times I've transitioned, but you have to be very choosy when you transition. Like very, very choosy. Just coming to here, 30%. Expect a 30 to 50% cut if you're very good at transitioning. Like you will lose 50% of your shit if you're very, very, very good at transitioning. Like you should never be transitioning unless it's like serious. And I also believe in like ultimate commitment. I was telling you before, I love the Solar Pros logo. I'm gonna get that shit tattooed right here on my on my tricep, on my arm, and I'll have 3 tattoos. I'll have my wedding date with my wife that I have today, the love of my life, and I'll have the Meraki tattoo, which is on my back. I'm gonna have the Solar Pros tattoo right here.
Let's go.
So I'm like, whenever you do, if you do need to make a transition because of whatever reason, like whatever you go into, it's like all in. The only way to succeed is every last teeny ounce of you has to be all the freaking way in. As soon as even a little bit of you is out, you're gonna fail. Like you have to be so freaking in that thing to where you're riding it to the very freaking top, or you're riding that thing till the wheels fucking fall off that shit. Like you have to just go all the way in, and that's the only way. So if any of you out there like kind of deciding, or I'm doing solar, like, but I also want to get into this other side business shit. I'm like, dude, no, like stop that shit. Like solar makes you the most power. Don't do some weird stupid side business shit. Like just all in, everything you got. This is the machine. This is the path. And you will crush it. I mean, you've been on Shark Tank. They say it all the time. Like laser focus. Don't freaking have like, oh, we're gonna do this, but also I have this, and I want multiple streams of income. Like, nah. Like, don't get me wrong, I have all my money and you should invest it. I invest my money in the side thing. I have another guy that manages it. I don't deal with any of it. It just goes and then they do it. It's just laser focus on what you're doing. And that's also the only reasons I've been successful. Like, I just put my head down and just go and laser focus on what you want to achieve.
So, such good advice, dude. That's what it takes, though. Like, I just don't get, guys are like, they ask, what does it take? What's the price tag? That right there.
Yep.
What you're looking at, like this, I want an Empire at Pros. It's like, that's what you want. And you're at a store and it was for sale. The price tag would show that.
Yeah.
And it would show, get ready to get your shit kicked in.
Yeah.
You're like, well, how much? You're like, well, that's the thing is, we kind of don't know. So you got to just buy all of it.
Yep.
And you're like, okay. And then that's the price, and that's what it takes. So.
And the last thing I'd say is think about the environment you're into. After that off season, I learned the power of environment.
Yeah.
The power of environment is insane, and I never look at myself as too strong or too powerful, like that. I'm like, I have the willpower to overcome that. Like I don't rely on my willpower. Like there's some people like, I can go out to the clubs and I can flirt with girls. I won't ever cheat my wife because I have willpower. I'm like, I just don't talk to other girls. Like,
yeah.
I'm just not stupid. Yeah. Like I just don't do that kind of shit. Like I don't rely on my willpower. I rely on my power of environment. Like I tell people, if you're not doing it daily and you're not doing it as a team, you're probably not doing it at all. And if you are doing it, you're probably not doing it very well. Right. A lot of offices will set up a team that's conducive to get guys to fail. It's like, all right, what are we gonna do? Well, we'll meet up once a week, maybe twice a week. After that, you just go out on your own, alone, and knock doors. And you're like, that's a very common setup. We meet up twice a week. The rest of the time, everyone goes out on their own, alone, go knock doors. And they're like, you're literally setting these guys up to fail unless they're just really hyper motivated or they just naturally gravitate to each other and go out together and stuff like that. But take another environment where it's like, hey, we meet up more often. Maybe it's only 2 meetings a week, but we meet up and play volleyball one day. We meet up and do this. Like I'm going out with 2 or 3 other guys at the same time that I'm competing with, and you go out there together. And let's say in the morning, I'm sending a selfie check-in, and at the evening, I'm sending another selfie like 8 o'clock. Like, all right, guys, getting off the doors, 8 o'clock. Like that environment, I'll just perform it at a significantly higher level. Like if I'm going out with 3 of my buddies, who I like, and they're crushing, and we go out, or at the same time, we're in contact the whole day, my environment is now adding a lot of pressure to me, a lot of pressure for me to perform. I can't, if I can just leave my hood and no one would know at all, I'm setting myself up to fail, right? I need to be daily posting, here's my goals, here's what I did today, right? Today I did this many doors. Today I did this much closes. Today I had this many sets. Like every single day at the end of the day, I'm posting it on WhatsApp, and I'm committing the day before what I'm going to do the next day. Hey, tomorrow I'm going to be doing this. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing that. And I think it's one thing that helped me a lot to be very successful in door-to-door sales was just that I continued to keep the spotlight on myself. Like I'll try to like, even with working out just recently, I posted on the thing, like, and I know when I'm doing it, I'm like, ah, shit, this means I have to actually be consistent at it. But like, I'll throw on my leadership head, like, all right, guys, I'm going to work out at least 4 days a week. You know, the goal is 5, but at least 4 days a week, and I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to post it here every single day. What my workout is, my picture of me at the gym, and I'm going to post it on here, and I commit to doing that. As soon as I've committed to doing that with my team and committed to do it daily, the odds of me continuing to do it increased exponentially. Like I'm going to keep doing this thing now because now I'm on the spotlight. You know, I put the positive pressure on myself. I think that also is something that guys they avoid the positive pressure. A lot of guys, I think that kills them, right? They're like, oh, I don't want to be micromanaged. Like, do it yourself. Just post it, do it. I think it helps a ton.
Dude, freaking money.
No, thanks.
Dude, I think any last thing you would say, kind of wrap up here of like young guy, leader, wanting to be the next J Money Wolf?
I think the biggest thing I tell guys is the number one skill of a sales rep is their ability to motivate themselves. I don't care if you could sit down in front of 20 people and close every single one of those 20 people. If you can't motivate yourself to go out on the doors, you're going to suck at sales. So you don't ever tell me you're good at sales, but you just don't work that hard. No, that means you suck at sales. Trash. You can't motivate yourself. Like, that's it. You have to be able to motivate yourself. You have to be able to get out there and get on the doors and freaking work. Like, that's it. Like, that's the factor over everything else. And if you don't have it, you suck at sales. And don't pretend like you don't. You do. You're trash, you know? Yeah. And then the number one skill of a sales leader is their ability to motivate their team. You know, and I'd say motivate, you could take that word out and put like, get their team to be dedicated, inspire, get them out there working. Because let's pretend I sucked at sales, I sucked at training, I sucked at everything. I was a trash leader. But for some reason, I could motivate a bunch of dudes to freaking knock doors for 10 hours a day, train for another hour, and recruit every single day, 5 days a week. I'd be an amazing leader. Yeah. I'd be crushed. I'd be the best leader in the world.
Yeah.
If I could just get my guys to do that, right? And so I tell people, look, and that's all around an environment. And I have to go into like this big, long training for it, but it's all around the environment you put yourself in, you know, and that you set up around yourself. Like, I like positive pressure. I call it pressure because it's, you know, I like eyes on me. I want my live location on when I go out there and work. I don't want to be able to go home without everyone knowing. I don't want to be able to slack off without everyone knowing, right? And so if you have a goal, let's say I want to recruit more. Okay, then you need to say, find your action metric, which is I'm going to speak to this many people a day about trying to recruit them, right? And then you commit to that action metric and you do it daily and you do it as a team. So every single day you need to do something. If I want to be better at recruiting, every single day I need to carve out 30 minutes of recruiting time or whatever it is every single day. Because there's a thing on piano where you could play piano for 7 hours in a single day or 1 hour a week, 1 hour every day for a week. You're going to improve significantly faster with 1 hour a day, 7 days a week than 7 hours one day. It's the same thing as that. If I wanted to get really good at recruiting and I was currently bad, I would say, okay, cool, I'm going to talk to 10 people a day, message them on social media, or when I'm knocking doors, like if you fail credit for solar, I'll be like, you know what? I liked our interaction. You should come to one of our meetings. You know, like I do that to people I'm talking to on the doors. Like, it doesn't have to take away from the doors. You can do that shit on the doors. I recruited a lot of people on the doors.
Yeah.
You know how you didn't qualify for solar, but I really liked this meeting.
Yeah.
You should come to one of our meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should come to one of our meetings. They install solar panels in the house. Be like, you know what? I really enjoyed this interaction. You should come to one of our meetings. Like, whatever it is, like, you should X number of people I'm going to talk to every day. Then I take that and I go announce it to the team. Hey guys, and who wants to do it with me? Because if I can get a few people to do it with me, that also increases the odds of me doing it exponentially. Like, I was like, hey, every day I'm going to post, this is how many people I spoke to, here's the names, I'm going to speak to at least 10 people a day. Who else wants to be good at recruiting? Who wants to do it with me? And then they hop in and they're like, oh, I'll do it too. All right, we're going to hold each other accountable. We're going to do it. We're going to post it in the chat every single day. And then now you have all this pressure. You've announced that. You've told everyone you're going to do it, and you told them you're going to post every single day because it's easy to remember if you do it every day. And you have all these other guys doing it too. If you decide to stop doing it, now you have to be embarrassed. Now you have to fail. Like before, if I'm going to be good at recruiting and I don't tell anybody, the odds of you giving up is just very high. So number one thing is motivate yourself. So figure out how to motivate yourself. I say, and I'm long-winded here,
but great, bro. Keep going.
But long-winded here. But I say there's, whenever you want to motivate yourself at a high level, you need constant measurable growth. So like video games, like you play Call of Duty, how many freaking stupid awards do they throw at you and ranks? And like any video game worth its salt in today's world knows what motivates people, gets them to want. Motivation is to want, right? Gets them to want to keep doing this thing. Constant measurable growth is super important. So every day I track my metrics every single day. It's like if I want to run a mile time really fast, you take two people, one guy wakes up every morning and runs. How far? I don't know. But he runs every morning. The next guy wakes up and runs exactly a mile, and he times it every single day. And he times his time. At the end of a year, who runs the faster mile? Obviously the guy.
Totally.
The guy, it crushes him too, probably. Actually, just straight up crushes him. Yet, how many guys in solar are not tracking metrics? It's insane. I asked him, how many deals do you close? What's your realization rate? How many sets, how many action metrics, how many sets did it take you to get a close? How many doors you have to knock to get a set? And they just kind of throw out a number. They actually don't know the number. It's only a numbers game if you know the numbers. If you don't know the numbers, it's not a numbers game. You just randomly run. You're just running. Yeah. Now, you might run hard, but you're just running. You're just waking up every morning and just running and hoping that you're getting better at the mile. It's like, so you need constant measurable growth. Yeah. Every time you measure it, it increases your motivation, and everything's around increasing your motivation because that's the number one skill. Because when I measure my mile time and I get a little bit faster that mile, I'm now fucking motivated to go run the next mile. And also I can tell I'm right there. And so I just need to push a little harder to beat my mile time. A little hard. It just pushes you so much harder when you track. So I know my metrics. I'm announcing my metrics. When I run my mile, I ran a mile for a while with a few of my business partners, and I was getting faster and faster and faster. We were all posting it every day, faster, faster, faster. And then my business partner ended up had to get surgery and stuff. So he fell off. So I was alone and I wasn't posting it daily anymore. Guess what? I stopped running the mile time. My motivation tanked, right? And we're now doing Duolingo as a group, and it's caught on. Clayton actually started doing Duolingo, and he started posting his daily on thing, and I was like, I'm gonna do the Duolingo too, and I was like, all right, and I started posting it on there, and I was like, all right, we're gonna see who fails first. So we're gonna see who loses their daily streak, every day. I'm on day 31. He's on day 45 because he started first. I've done 31 days in a row. I haven't missed a single day of Duolingo because I'm learning Spanish, and at this point, I'll probably go for the rest of my life because there's no scenario where I'm letting Clayton and the other guys. Now a bunch of other guys hopped on, and there's no scenario where I'm gonna let them. I'm not gonna be the first guy to quit. So now I'm gonna learn Spanish. I'm probably 2 years from now I'm gonna be speaking Spanish as fluent as hell.
Bro, that's
because
funny,
I'm not gonna. But again, it increased my motivation. So constant, measurable growth, and then you need it difficult but achievable. Like playing basketball. If I play basketball against a bunch of 5-year-olds, how motivated am I going to be to go to the gym and lift and try to push myself to get better to beat these 5-year-olds? I won't, right? It has to be challenging, but it has to also be achievable. If I just suck at sports and I only play against freaking LeBron James, who kicks my ass all the time, I eventually look at the challenge like a glass wall. I say a glass wall is where you look at a 100-foot glass wall, you have no tools, you have nothing to climb it, you just give up, right? But if I say, here's a bunch of tools where you could climb it, I'm going to try a lot longer to climb the glass wall. Now, if I tell you, here's a bunch of tools that can climb it, and 100 guys before have used these tools to climb it, and I know you absolutely can do it if you figure it out, I will then try much longer to do it because I know it can be done. And so it's challenging but achievable. You have to believe you can do it, but the more challenging it is, the better, as long as you believe you can do it, right?
Find that little balance right there.
A little balance, challenging but achievable, and then massive amounts of positive social pressure. So that's the other guys around you that have the same goals, just like that Duolingo thing, right? I have all these guys around me that are they see every day and they're all posting every day too. And it's who's going to give up first? I now have all this massive positive pressure. And so whenever you want to be motivated at something, whatever it is, I try to incorporate all three of those elements, really hard into it. And if I want to get good at whatever, golf, I want to get good at sports, I want to get good at fitness. When I go work out, I'm now posting the workout I do, and I have a workout thing that tracks all of exactly what I did, how many lifts I did, how many reps I did, how much weight I did. I post that every single day in the chat, and I've already committed that I will post it every day and that I will do 4-hour workouts a week. And so now my motivation to do that thing is significantly increased because I have constant measurable growth. It's challenging, but it is achievable, and I have a lot of social pressure because I'm putting it out there in the spotlight and have committed to everyone around me that I'm going to continue to do it. And now I can't let my team down. I can't look like can't look like a little bitch. I can't. Like, I got figured out. And I'll have days where it's like, dude, I just worked all day today, and I'm like, oh, I'm freaking tired as hell. But I'm like, dude, if I don't do it today, I'm gonna fail the thing. Like, I gotta go freaking work. I gotta go work out, and I gotta go work out. It's like, oh, I gotta go work out because of those three things. If that didn't exist, if I hadn't have committed, if I hadn't have done that stuff, I probably wouldn't work out today.
Totally.
I wouldn't have done it. So if I talk to anyone, remember, just figure out how to create an environment, that makes you do what you want to do, right? Makes you motivated, because motivation is everything. And as a leader, if you want to create an environment for your guys, you want to succeed, you need to create an environment that motivates them, right? And that motivates them to go work. And it's not all about just the hoorahs. It's about all three of those things being present, at wherever you're trying to get them to do stuff. Like, same with recruiting, but like all three of those things have to be there.
Sheesh, dude, that's gold. That's freaking money. I think that's a perfect way to end, dude. I think that, yeah, dude, I want to give you a little shout out here. Like, to me, just obviously experiencing you for the past couple hours, like, it's no question, like, why you guys have been as successful as you've been. And I know that your other partners are, probably have equally, as talented skill sets, just maybe in different ways. I haven't gotten to meet them a ton yet, but man, like, you guys are onto something, and it makes a ton of sense. Like, very specific on what you focus on, and I can feel it, dude. So shout out to you, the Meraki boys. I think you guys are gonna do massive things. If you have any questions about that, go find this guy, hit him up, like, get in his Instagram DMs and, like, just ask him. I mean, I already have, like, a ton of stuff I want to talk to you about offline that pertains to some of the things you talked about, dude. It's freaking great. But appreciate you coming on, brother.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that was a good one.